All right, here we go. I did have a little bit of data acquisition issues for this particular race, so the data won't really start till the second lap. So in reality, there were 33 laps on this particular race. Average was only about 24.6, definitely one of the slower races I've had out here. Also, no heart rate data available. Once again, was having some data issues. So this is the best I can do this round. This race turned out really to be the battle of three teams. Me and my teammate on, of course, a Gigawatt squad. Myself being a Cat 3, my teammate being a Cat 4. And we've got the Cycles Dioro team, which is the guys that you'll see in the red kit. And then we've also got Trek Benissimo in the blue kit. And the three of us really battled it out. Essentially, the strategy we had, and I think the other teams did as well, was do some attacks with one teammate. If it sticks, great. If not, once the attack gets reined back in, then the teammate that's sitting in the group attack again. We start to kind of have the first attack of the day right here. So we're only 5 laps in. Once again, the first lap is not in the lap counter. So Cycles Dioro takes this little dig here, and you can see my teammate up there as well, which is great. So he was at the right place at the right time. I also go ahead and jump on, and the field right now is very strung out. Somewhat of a gap behind me, but not too big. So I start to put in a dig here to get on their wheel, hoping it is early on, but maybe we can get something going. And we're looking back, and they're on to us right now. So you can already see my teammate. He looked back and realized this isn't going to go anywhere. So he starts calming down on it a little bit. So that starts somewhat of the first attack of the day. And here we go. So here's our second attack. And I'm being led here by one of the Cycles Dioro team members. And this is once again a pretty good team. They've got some good horsepower on their team. And we put in a small attack here, nothing too big. Got a little bit of a gap, but really not much happened. So once again, I'm going to try and get away with the least amount of work. And this particular guy has a pretty good draft. So I'm going to stick back here and kind of chill out, see what happens next. I'm still on this guy's wheel right now, kind of getting sucked along. He doesn't want to be up front because he's wasting some watts, and so he's trying to get me off his wheel. And then one of his teammates does a counter, so I go ahead and lay down a little bit of watts to get on his wheel as well. And once again, it really doesn't go anywhere. It's too early in the race for anything really exciting to happen at this point. Everybody's fresh, and I see my teammate. He's up in the front now. He's got things covered. So I come back here a little bit. Also part of how sort of the group spread apart. I just ended up falling in here. Typically when I do these races, unless I'm really tired, I always like to try to stay 4 or 5 wheels back from the front. I want to be in the front somewhere. So that tape attack didn't really amount to anything, as you can see. And really throughout this race, there's a lot of small little baby attacks like that. Nobody really did any long, drawn-out, big effort. Now, this is kind of funny. This is a Cat 4 racer here. He didn't have any teammates in this race, and man, this guy probably pulled, I don't know, maybe 10 total laps, a third of the race. I mean, it seemed like it anyway. He would just sit up here and drag us along for several laps. Yeah, this Cat 4 guy, he has pulled us around the course for 3 full laps, and we're all sitting back here totally rested. And my teammate decides, hey, you know what? Now's a good time to attack on the famous hill. So here he goes. And he just hustles up that hill, so I get right up front and I pretend like I'm working hard. I'm standing on the pedals and I'm not doing anything. So I'm going to try and block for him. I don't know if his point is to do a solo break or not, but maybe it is, and that would be wonderful. So I'm all about that. So I'm sitting up here at front, kind of making like I'm doing something, but I'm actually not. And then they finally get the motivation to come around me. And now I get a free ride. So I hop on this group's wheel, and we'll see what happens, right? These guys are chasing my teammate down, and they are laying it down in this headwind for sure. If you can break away, it's a great way to get away, because going through that headwind is tough. But these three guys, the Trek Benissimo and the two Cycles d'Oro guys, have reined him back in. And I'm pretty fresh, so I can just get on these guys' wheels and let them drag me along, which is exactly what I do. And the whole group's behind me. I mean, we get strung out here a little bit, but they're not letting anybody get away. We're still fresh enough that not much is going to happen at the moment. So once again, another one of those little, kind of 15-second digs. And that's really been the name of the game for the race this day. It's like the heat was getting people or something, because all anybody was really good for were these little 15 to 20 second efforts hard, and then they just would kind of peter out or not get organized. So now it's my turn. I go ahead and do a counter. I know my teammate attacked earlier, and so I'm ramming it up the hill here and looking to see what happens. And they really are not letting me go. Unfortunately, I don't have the rear camera going, so you can't see behind me, but the field right now is seriously stretched out, and I'm looking behind me, kind of seeing what's going to happen. So I'm still bringing down some watts, but I realize that they're just not going to let me get away. So right through here, I'm just like, I think I'm done for the moment. Nobody's letting me get away. So I shut it down a bit, and they come around me. And here we go. There's a little bit of an attack that's happening, and my teammate is right there with them, so he's covering that attack, which is great, because I just put down an effort. So I'm going to let that, see if it maybe gets organized or something, but they hit the wind, and they're like, I think we're done. So once again, another little 10-15 second attack there, and nothing really happens here. So you can see the field kind of bunches up, and then we get an attack up the right side there from Cycles d'Oro, and they attack from so far behind that by the time they get up to the front, the rest of the group just sort of hops on here. And one of the things I've learned is that if you're in the back and you're going to attack, unless you know that everybody in the field is just gassed or something, that is basically what's going to happen. So they come up that right side and they put in a great effort, a nice strong effort, but as they're coming up that right side, the rest of the group can just kind of merge in right behind them. So here we hit the straightaway with the headwind, and it just kind of falls apart. And coming up here is going to be another example of an attack from behind the field. So here we have this Cat 4 guy coming up the right side, and he does quite a good dig, but once again he's attacking into the wind, comes around the whole group and gets out to the front. So gosh, man, he probably had to put down a lot of watts to be able to do what he did, but man, that kind of attack will just burn you out, and it won't amount to a whole lot. So he went all the way up to the front, probably laid down who knows how many watts, and didn't really go anywhere. So it's great to have some spunk like that. I always appreciate guys doing that. It's always going to be a learning process, and you got to know the course, you got to know where the wind is, and at least from my experience, the attacks have to happen at the right times, right, and from the right places. This is about as far back in the race that I got. I don't like usually being this far back in the race. Got a little bit swarmed by the group, And so, so you see here, I'm like, for enough of this, I'm too many wheels back. So I make my way back up here to closer to the front of the group. And once again, that always puts me in the best position to either get on people's wheels when they attack, or it sets me up to be in a good position for me to do an attack as well, so I don't have to come around the whole group in my attacks. So I find a slot to stick in and get a draft, and there we go. So now I'm back in the front again. And I put in an attack here. And once again, we're going to see what happens. So while I'm attacking, I'm looking behind me to see who's coming. I am not quite strong enough or fit enough right now to do a solo break, so I'm hoping that some people will see me, and I'm hoping by looking behind me that's going to flag to the rest of the group that, hey, come with me, let's go, let's make something happen here. And so I'm still bringing down some watts here, still trying to make something happen. We're doing pretty good speed here, and it looks like something might kind of form at the moment. And you can see I'm looking back behind me. Is something going to happen? Is something not going to happen? And it's not going to happen. So I'm hitting the wind section, and they're all behind me. I mean, we're strung out right now, but they're on me. And I'm kind of like, okay, I guess nothing's going to happen. So here we go. Another 15, 20-second attack from me. And here goes my teammate. Perfect counterattack. Love it, right? Couldn't have been better. So there they go. I'm in the front, and I say, hey, I'm going to sit back here and kind of pretend like I'm going after them, but I'm not. So here they go. They got some good people, some good strength up in that group. And I'm hoping at this point that will stick, that we finally have the break that we need, and we can do some blocking. So it's a little strung out right now. I'm looking to see if these guys are going to have the motivation to run up there and catch that or not. So I'm going to get a free ride if I can. So that's why I'm sort of sitting back here. I'm not going to chase down my teammate. I'm not going to attack that. And it looks like we actually have our break. Man, it only took 20 laps, right? So we've already got the Cycles Viora people up here in front of me, and we've got one of the Trek Benissimo riders and myself. So none of us are going to do any work to catch that up there because we've all got teammates in the front. So there we go. We've got our break established. 10 laps to go, and my teammate's in it. I couldn't be happier. So my role now is just to enjoy the draft, and if somebody decides to get bold and try to catch that front break, I will get a free ride, or else I'm just going to sit back here and do a group ride for the rest of the race and pray and hope that my teammate will win the sprint. Earlier in the race, I was talking about this Cat 4 guy in the yellow jersey up here. He just pulled for a while, and I'm not going to show it, but he ends up pulling quite a bit for this group back here. We never do catch the break, which is fine. And he does a lot of work, this guy. So I think as he gets more experienced, he'll be a force to be reckoned with. But, as a Cat 4-5, I do remember those days. I was just happy to hang on. I didn't have time to think about what's going on around me, where my teammates were, or anything. It was just like, oh, I just want to make this and I don't want to wreck, right? So once you get past that point and you get a little bit of experience, or at least for me anyway, it makes these races so much more fun because you can really look around you and pay attention to what's going on. You can see who's got teammates, and it starts becoming more the chess on wheels that's often been quoted about these crits, where you can do some strategy and have a lot of fun with things. So here he comes again up the right, and he sits on the front and he drags us around for, gosh, I think all the way up until maybe lap, I think he pulls us for the next 4 or 5 laps. We're down to the final 2 laps, and we are still being dragged around by the Cat 4 yellow jersey guy. And I don't really like where I'm sitting. I was several wheels back, so I'm trying to figure out how to get near the front. I don't want to be pulling once again. And this is kind of funny. This actually happened at a perfect time. The guy in the yellow jersey, he's been dragging us around at like 24, 25 miles an hour for the last several laps. I mean, pretty stout. And so you didn't see it off to my right, but this guy takes a bit of a dig, which was perfect. I was like, yes, because I don't want to be in the front. I want to get set up for the sprint. And the inland construction guy decides he's going to take a little dig, which is perfect. So I am now lined up. I'm not in the front, so I'm not burning a lot of fuel. And we are coming down to the last lap here. And, this is sprinting for, I can't even remember, 5th, 6th place, 7th. It doesn't really matter. But the point is this is great training here to figure out how to set yourself up for the sprint, right? So you want to race the group that you're in. Great advice, right, from my friend Mac Thacker at Spoke Cycling. And so I'm treating this as if, there's not a break and my teammate is not up there, right? Like, I want to win this group race right here. That's my plan. Because one day it will be a group sprint, right? And I'll need to understand how to get the sprint. And so the Cycles Diora people start lighting it up here. So we're doing 30 miles an hour, and I am in a great position. I got a little bit gap there, but nothing too bad, nothing I can't handle. My heart rate's really low right now. I'm well rested. So being 3 wheels back, being the 3rd wheel back is great, and really the sprint starts right here. So here I go, and I am coming up hard, and nobody's chasing me. Here I come around the corner, putting in effort. I'm feeling pretty good today, so get over 1,000 watts. Sometimes I'm good for a little bit more, but that was enough to keep everybody at bay. And there you go. Thanks for watching once again. We got 2nd place, and I don't even remember what spot I got. I think it was 6th or possibly 7th. Didn't really matter, but great little race for the team. My teammate and I countered and attacked at pretty much all the right times. So it was bound to happen that one of us was going to get in the great break. And I'm looking forward to seeing you next week. Thanks again for the time. Once again, Hal with Gigawet Cycling. I really encourage you to come out to these races if you can. It's great training, great fun, great time to really learn the tactics. And I owe a lot to these crits and to the organizer, Jim Smalley, who's done just a great job at putting these on throughout the year. So see you guys next week.